Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the museum. While this gas engine is being prepared to give a demonstration run, I'll just tell you a little bit about the history of the pumping station and some of the equipment and what it was for. As you've probably already discovered, this pumping station opened in 1894, and it was built under the improvements which were carried out to the main drainage system for Cambridge. Prior to that date, the drainage and the sewage had literally been allowed to run straight into the river. Well, during the late Victorian period, Cambridge was expanding rapidly, and there had become something of a pollution problem. There is a slightly apocryphal story that we tell of Queen Victoria visiting Cambridge and having lunch with the master at Trinity College. And after lunch, Her Majesty, together with the college official, were walking along the banks by the river, and Her Majesty commented as to the amount of paper and rubbish that she could see floating in the water. Well, the college official, of course, being a very learned gentleman, replied, "Ma'am, those are notices to undergraduates prohibiting bathing." And seriously, you and I know what she was really looking at. This forced the Cambridge Improvement Commissioners into action, and they contacted various eminent civil engineers of the day to devise a scheme that would divert the drainage from going into the river, to clean up the river, and to provide a proper system of disposing of the drainage of Cambridge. And the scheme that was eventually chosen was one by a gentleman by the name of Mr. John Thomas Wood. And it comprised building new deep-level sewers beneath Cambridge to intercept the original drainage system, to stop that going straight into the river, and to build a sewage farm, which was built at a place called Milton, which was more than 3.5 miles from the centre of Cambridge, downriver. So a pumping station was needed because the new sewers gravitated to a sump which is beneath the main steam engines, and they're already 40 feet deep by the time they reach this point. And the pumps that were driven by the steam engine lifted the drainage from the deep level and pushed it through a rising main for a further 2.25 miles to the sewage farm. Now the interesting thing is, from the beginning, from the Victorian times, in order to raise the steam in the boilers to drive the engines, they burnt all the rubbish from Cambridge. They incinerated all the rubbish. They called them refuse destructors. So not only were they dealing with the problem of the drainage of Cambridge, they were also conveniently disposing of the rubbish, but getting useful energy from it as well. So when you talk about recycling and alternative ways of disposing of our waste and rubbish today, the Victorians were well into that. So it's nothing new. Well, the system worked well, but Cambridge continued to grow, and more of the properties were becoming connected to the drainage system, but probably more important, the surfaces of the roads were becoming properly metalled or tarmacaded. And Cambridge had, and still does to a certain extent, have what's known as a combined system. This is where the foul sewer, the dirty water, and the surface water, which is the runoff from the roads and also from the roofs of the buildings, was also channeled into the one system. This was done deliberately originally because the extra flow, when there was a rainstorm, had a scouring action to flush out and clean the sewers. But it did cause a problem because they would have to increase the flow by as much as 4 times. Well, as Cambridge continued to grow, by about 1900 they were already having problems that the steam engine that was running couldn't cope with the flow at the maximum times when there was heavy rainstorm. So in 1909, this engine house that you're all standing in was an addition to the pumping station. Originally that was the outside wall there, housing the steam engines. So this engine house was an addition together with these 2 gas engines. These are not steam engines, they're gas engines using originally town's gas as the fuel, so they're an internal combustion engine. Each of these engines was connected by a flat belting. You can see there's still a belt on that one, connecting it to its own pump, which is down in the basement. So when the flow increased, normally during times of rainstorm, they would start one or possibly both engines to provide additional pumping capacity to deal with the extra stormwater flow. Normally this was sent straight through to the sewage farm, or indeed sewage works as it became after 1935. But if there was a particularly heavy and prolonged period of rain, there reached a point where the sewage farm became overwhelmed. It couldn't cope with all the flow. So as an alternative, there used to be, on the other side of the wooden fence, which is through the windows behind me, it's now a housing estate, there used to be what were known as stormwater holding tanks. These were vast concrete open tanks holding several million gallons. They looked just like swimming pools, although I wouldn't recommend trying to swim in them. And it was into here that the excess water could be channeled and held until the flow had subsided, and then it was allowed to run from those tanks back into the sumps and could be pumped forward to the sewage works. Are we ready? Okay, well, Peter's just about ready to give a demonstration run of this engine. Now, it can be a little bit temperamental sometimes to start, they always will. But he's been speaking to it kindly, so hopefully it will be successful. In order to start the engine, what's happening now, using a hand pump, he's pumping in a mixture of gas and air into the cylinder. This has a single cylinder, a horizontal single cylinder, and just to give you some idea of the size, it's 90 litres, 90 litres displacement. Yeah.